O nwere edemede ndịrụ ụmụ nkụzi a na-ada enyewe gbasatalụ aligning spiritual alignment by exploring the powers of the mind, the emotions, all these powers within man. And some persons have asked both on the comment section and also on my inbox if these teachings that I'm giving are actually part of Omenani Igbo. I teach people about alignment with the thoughts, with feelings, emotions, about activating the intuition, the power of intuition in man. And so some people are wondering that normally when I give such teachings, it doesn't normally attract much engagement. People overlook it, people see it and look away. And so some people that have the power or the courage to ask have approached me, Ezinwa, this level of teaching sound occultic, sound more like something that is not Ọdịnanị in Omenani Igbo. Now, it is very unfortunate that the current age I am on here, the only aspect of Ọdịnanị in Omenani Igbo that we explore is only the aspect of physicalities, the aspect of ngwongwo. Ngwongwo is about physical load. Ngwongwo. The aspect of Ọdịnanị that we explore today, Omenani that we explore today, is about ifeji, ife a na-afụ anya wele eme. That is the aspect that we mostly focus on and explore today. It's about ngwongwo. Our generation today, our age today is such age that if it is not something physical, tangible, if I gauge if I were, if I na-afụ anya, then we find it difficult to understand or to flow with it. And that is the reason our generation have so much misconstrued this Ọdịnanị Omenani Igbo. We focus on ngwongwo. Ngwongwo ihe bulu ananya gị. Bulu ngwongwo a, bulu ibu a, buja na mmiri. Bulu ngwongwo a, bulu ibu a, jee dewe n'ezinụzọ. Bulu ngwongwo a, bulu efi a, bulu ebuna a, bulu ewu a, bulu ọkụkọ a, jee gbuolu mmụọ. Bulu ngwongwo a, buje na mmụọ ikwu nne, bulu ngwongwo anụwa, and also gathering of ngwongwo, accumulation of ngwongwo, doshi, dọtuo onye ụwa, dọtuo agwụ, dọtuo ndị ishie, dọtuo ndị mmiri, kpọnata ndị mmiri, dọtuo ogwugwu, dọtuo udo, dọtuo anyanwụ na eze enu, dọtuo iyi ụwa, dọọ aja ana, dọọ nke a, dọọ nke a. It's about gathering of ngwongwo a na-afụ anya. That is the aspect of Omenani that actually flow better for this our generation. Our generation is such that ọ bụrụ na our generation is such that, for instance, ọ bụrụ na ịgwa mmadụ na nya wele ọjị waalụ mmụọ, and ọ bụrụ na ọ da afụ something physical that represent the mmụọ na awarụ the ọjị, he will not be able to connect with that mmụọ. That is our generation. That is ese mmadụ kịta anụ wele ọjị waalụ mmụọ dị otu a. If there is no physical something that represents the presence of that mmụọ physically for the person will not be able to connect with the mmụọ asị ya waalụ ọjị. You see, ọdịnanị ngwongwo bụ ọdịnanị omenanị ụmụazị. Gịnị ka m ji gba ya omenanị ụmụazị? Ọ bụ omenanị ụmụazị that always require support. You know, nwa amụrụ ọfụ ka na-egbe igbe, ọ bịa na-akwụ ọtọ, ọ gabere ije, ọ na-akwụ ọtọ, ọ na-achọ ife ọ ga-ejide aka, o jide osisi, o wee na-aga. That is our generation. Anyị bụ ụmụazị, our generation. And so we need physical support. Ọnya merụ ịgba mmadụ nya wele ọjị kpọọ mmụọ dị otu a, kwuo ihe dị otu a. The person will be looking for a physical contact that he or she can be looking at and be able to connect with the mmụọ. And that is the reason o ji wee bụrụ na we keep gathering in ngwongwo. For instance, somebody will need ịdọchie in an artifact ọ ga na-afụ anya ka o wee nwee ike connect ya with chi. Because of what? Without that physical artifact, whatever the person is doing for his or her chi, ọ ma ndị na-aghọta ya. Without that physical artifact, chi ọ na-emere ife, ọ dịghị ka ọ nọ n'ọhịa. And that is the reason also we talk about ịdọ agwụ, dọọ nke a, dọọ nke a, dọọ nke a. You know, because we feel that without all these physical artifacts, physical representations of the mmụọ, we cannot connect. That is why somebody will need it on this share. Nwee ikenga ndị ishie, nwee wesi ndị ishie, nwee ma nke a ma nke ọzọ adọbịa asị yes nọ ndị ichie nọ ebe. You know, our present spiritual state is too low, too umuazi, that we need all these physical things. It's just like if I na-ekwu na a na-amalụ nwata atụ awọ, a na-alụrụ ya aka n'ikpu okwute. Nwata mana ọ bụla okenye, ị na-amalụ okenye atụ awọ, ị na-idere ya tụrụ ya aka n'ikpu okwute maka nwokenye amalụ gị ife bụ awọ. I don't know if you're understanding. So our Ọdịnanị today is so childish. Our Omenani today, so childish. That is the reason why you are born and ngwongwo karịrị. Apart from the aspect of Edom more that, you know, for instance, ịgwa mmadụ mmadụ ndị otu gị nzu. If the person does not see something that, you know, see something physical that convinces him or her that neha na ndị otu ya nọ here, ịgọ ịmalụ ndị otu ya nzu ahụ, ọ ma nwe ike connect. So our generation is that generation that we so much are dependent on material, physical, gross material things. And this is also the reason we are for instance, gacho aja na mmiri. If that aja has anya jechuo does not, abuna the person a follow na anya na bo ngwongwo akpakọlụ age ebuwe gbada na the mmiri, the person will not be convinced na akpago aja mmiri. Or man dey convinced. The person need efu ngwongwo. O need efu ngwongwo ebu wee gbada na the mmiri. Mmụọ ya wee nwe ike connect ya na achụgo aja. You know? So the bigger the ngwongwo, the more convinced we are. I mean, people of our generation, the bigger the ngwongwo, the more we believe that na yes, na emego ife. The more ewu na ọkụkọ na efi na ebu na egbulu, the more anyị na-adị convinced na emego ife. You know, it affects everything. It affects everything. Our spiritual practice today is too childish. Ụmụazị. Omume ụmụazị. No wonder some people say that we are in Oga. Is it Ogazi or what they call it? I don't know. That book. I've not even read it. I said now on Ogazi. Indeed, Ogazi Kobu. Azi. Omazi. That depend on physical evidences to rely on in order to connect. Remove those physical evidences, the person will not be able to connect. And that is why today, you know, about somebody that not the possible madi de me Ọdịnanị. Ịbata na bia. Ịmanfụ okwuchi. Ịmanfụ ọta ndị mmiri. Ịmanfụ Okwu. In fact, a man for any traditional altar, apart from Ajana, maybe a portion of what Putelebon and Malajan and Zu, a mega see here, ordinary. Even I got some people and ask, case goes where the possible near name ordinary without adultery. Yeah, don't she not person without allow we are now without I don't dish you know, all these things it becomes too difficult to convince somebody of this generation otherwise. The same thing happened all one alone the dinalo. In a long mother all woman a pahong. The person's spirit will not be able to connect. The person's spirit will not be able to connect with that all more because of follow enough that convinces him or her name. And so when I teach all these things that I teach, people will be like, Ezinwa was Ọdịnanị Igbo. We expect you to be teaching of some things. I gauge if I follow you. Something I gauge, I say, Mbologona Afifia. I gauge George, I gauge Junzu, I gauge Anoman, I gauge, you know. We expect you to be teaching all this and can encourage the people about thought, about emotion, feelings, about intuition, about things in other anya and our thought anya and our feelings anya and our emotions and our intuition and our you know all these things are that for. So it is often very difficult for them to comprehend, and that's why in such teaching people will look at it and they will look the other way around, you know. And then some person are asking, Ọdịnanị Igbo. Well, actually, matter. Every spirituality, every aspect of spirituality you see in this world have its root in Omenani Igbo. It's just that our generation now is confused. We have lost the time. Anything if lying in the physical. Nwere ebe ọ banyere mgbọrọgwụ na mmụọ, and the mmụọ bụ ife afụla anya. Always joke that n'ọdịnanị, we harness the energies in nature, in plants, in trees, in animals. But then, ọdịnanị ntọala ọdịnanị njem mmụọ ya agbakwa gị na afifi ọbụla ịfụrụ nọ outside of you exists inside of you first before it came out. N'ukwu osisi ọbụla ịfụrụ nọ outside of you exists within you before it came out. Na animal no ọbụla ịfụrụ nọ outside of you exists within you before it manifested outside. I don't know if you are thinking what I'm thinking. Somebody will now ask, how is it? How is it that animal not outside of me is existing inside of me? Everything is within. Everything is within the consciousness of man. Do you doubt that everything outside is also within you? And there are many aspects of Ọdịnanị Igbo. Spirituality, the Igbo spirituality. We have not, you see here, aspects of Ọdịnanị Igbo, the 100. We have not even explored up to 5%. I can on if we are still on Ngbongbo. Ekpa Ngbongbo. Ibu Ngbongbo. Ekpa Kosi Ngbongbo. We are still on it. We have not. Anamade Kubefa. Let us understand. Before the advent of technology, before the advent of science, before the advent of before the advent of Ibungbongbo, Igbo have explored far deep in spirituality, even without making use of any physical material. I keep saying it. Many people don't seem to understand. Igbo have achieved so much advancement that the current technology and the science of Ngbongbo can never achieve. The day you begin to understand the powers that lie within you as a human being, that is the day you become completely free. There used to be a time in the history of human existence on earth that human beings could move rock as big as anything you can think of. Rock that can never be lifted by, even if every human being on earth gathered to lift the rock could not be lifted even an inch above the earth. There used to be a time in the history of man when man could quietly sit and mentally, spiritually lift that rock up to any height or chore, and up to any distance or chore, without physically touching the rock with our care. And if I know Abulo or before doing this, he didn't use any herb, he didn't combine any root, he didn't explore any organ. Just by the powers that lie within him as a human being, he's able to command something that is outside of himself. That everything that exists outside is inside of you. You cannot move that rock without first of all embodying that rock, embodying it, seeing that rock as inside, as you are one with it. Igbo have achieved far more greater things. Okwunano maka ikwu ikiri. Okay, can sukano Igbo. Okwunano about astral projections, time traveling, kinetics, telepathy. Okwunano got all this language. Tell me, you, Ọdịnanị person of this age of Ngbongbo, can you ever achieve all these things in Nabwase by your luggages of Ngbongbo? You can never. Because the more Ngbongbo you gather, the more the heavy load weigh you down from ascending. Let me tell you, if you want to ascend, you have to offload. Manakaina agapa. kaina malona. We have a long way to go. If on Ọdịnanị anyị na-eme, we have a long way to go. Don't worry. This age of ngwongwo anyị nọ na, it will come to an end one day. It will come to an end one day. Because akwago the seed. The seeds are germinating gradually. Gradually. The seeds are germinating. The age of Omenani Igbo will end. By then, you will now understand. N'ife niile nọ within you. Mgbe anyị ghọta na okpesi chi a na-asị gị dọọ chi n'okpesi. N'ọnwụ gị nwa wụ the living okpesi chi. Mgbe ahụ ghọta na agwụ a na-asị gị jee lụọ, were ogiri ise alụ nye ma however tụ ọ na asị jee mee otu ndị bụ nsi eme alụ agwụ asị na-eme agwụ. Ịghọta really that na you are the living temple of that okwu agwụ. Mgbe ahụ ịghọta na asịrị gị jee meelu ogwugwu ife for instance ma ọ bụ meelu udo ife, meelu mmụọ be nna ife ma ọ meelu mmụọ ikwu nne ife. Ịghọta that na these energies are not just living somewhere distant from your body, but rather they are living inside of you, in your consciousness. Mgbe ahụ ịghọta na ndị ichie a na-asị gị lụọ obi ndị ichie, dọọ ndị ichie, gote okpesi ndị ichie, gote ikenga, gote nka, mee nka, mee nka, dọọ. Ịghọta that na all this luggage, they are outward expression of what is already inside of you, within you, in your consciousness. And when you understand this perfectly and begin to command situations to align with your consciousness, that all these luggages are not important. You don't need them. You don't need them. You got that na asị gị jee na mmiri ka ije chụọrụ ndị mmiri aja ndị na gị gbanata ndị mmiri mee ọta ndị mmiri nke nwe ibe nwa. Mgbe ahụ ịghọta na mmiri anụwa a na-asịkwanụ gị jee that na your body, greater percent of your body is water. Therefore, why going outside of yourself to seek what is already within? Where I know that at presently our current spiritual state cannot comprehend the hand new and all gala because for it to work perfectly, there is need for re-engineering. We have to first of all re-engineer ourselves and re-engineer all these spirit beings because they have been disfigured, kind of. They have been disfigured. You know why? You know why I say that they have been disfigured somehow? Take for instance, agwụ. There are some people that unless ma ha alụrụ agwụ nwee ọta agwụ nwee okwu agwụ, their agwụ will not be well aligned. That is the generation of ngwongwo anyị nọ na ya, the level anyị jigoro aka anyị wee reduzuo agwụ anyị. Maka na anyị ji aka anyị wee mee. Anyị emewego onye bụ asị na alụ gba afọ ọbụla omenala. And them and all these beings, all these spirit beings, they move by man's will. It is the will of man that they obey. So the will of man have told them that ke we meta gị mma na a ga-alụ ga-alụ. Ke we meta gị mma. Ke we meta gị mma na a ga-adọtụ gị. Ke we meta gị mma na a ga. So for you to for our spiritual practice to come up to this age, there is a need to re-engineer that agwa. You got to get about re-engineering. There's a need, and the re-engineering we begin with re-engineering ourselves, because it is when you re-engineer yourself that you will now be able to re-engineer whatever that is outside of you. That is when you will now be in possession of ihe akpọrọ ọfọ. Mgbe you got an ọfọ, ọfọ abụrụ something physical. Mgbe you got an ọfọ, ọkwa ife a osisi ọfọ. You got an ọfọ is not this osisi. N'ọfọ ọgwụ spiritual authority that one possess, ada afụ ya anya, authority ada afụ ya anya. It is when you are now able to re-engineer and, give yourself the instruction. That is when you will now have the power, the authority to now instruct every other more. About them more, because before our generation, before human history, and we're back to the level of na alụzi agwụ na adochi n'okpesi na anọkọta jee na mmiri kuote mmiri na anọkọta hibe ọta nka hibe okwu mmụọ nka hibe nka. Before the advent of the human being have been existing for billions of years without a single okwu mmụọ instituted by man, and the things have been working perfectly for them. Then, how come that later on human being now started establishing things? That same hour that today, there used to be a time when there was nothing like in human history. Let me talk. There used to be a time when there was nothing like in human history. Billions of years past. Kabuofu. Mgbe mmadụ ghọtara n'ezie na ya bụ chi. So that hour can still be formatted to return to default setting, or return to ihe ọwụbụ originally. But the re-engineering, we have to begin with the self. So I understand the situation I am here today. The generation of Ngongo is affecting everybody, even me and my kind that have this mentality in Nahekuna. We have it, but to implement it is not so easy for us. I have this mentality, I have this idea, I have this knowledge, but to implement it is not so easy. You can imagine when somebody pays Ezinwa Anaedo to go and do Ọlụmmiri for him, and the person don't see Ngwongwo na Ngwongwo in the Ọlụmmiri. I do think the person will be convinced na alụrụ Ọlụmmiri. The person will say that na Ezinwa na Ego, the Ezinwa was scam, Ezinwa, So sometimes we just play around, despite that we have the knowledge. Oh, well, on that na, can ejogodo. But the Ezinwa Anaedo you are seeing now, this is my 42 of age. The Ezinwa Anaedo I am seeing from maybe 65 years, 70 years upward. The Ezinwa Anaedo I am seeing, or let me say from 70 years upward, I am not seeing Ezinwa Anaedo with Ngbongbo. By then, everything around me will change drastically with respect to the practice of Ọdịnanị Omenani Igbo. Mana ọ ka na-eje. Even now that na mụ na-afụtakwa ya na mụ na-ebu ngwongwo, but then ịbịakwute m, you will understand that na the ngwongwo dị less because of the foundational knowledge about ihe anọ ya. So ana m ebu the ngwongwo, but I try to reduce. That many things are not necessary. Ịbata na bemas onye na-eme dibịa, ị ga na wonder how come. Kedu ebe this guy dọwalụ nnukwu alụsị o ji akpa ike ọ na-akpa? Kedu ebe this guy dọwalụ nnukwu ite o ji akpa? Kedu ị ga na-achọ the thing that is making Ezinwa Anaedo what or who he is? You will not see. Why will you see when everything is internal? What do you expect to see outside? Everything is within. Even the few you are seeing outside, they are not actually the one that make Ezinwa who he is or what he is. Take them away. Take the things you are seeing outside away. Take everything away. Ezinwa Anaedo still remain who he is. So, if it is only helpful to Omazi, and we are all Omazi. I can make that to Omazi because it's a stage. I know ya. I can yes, we are Janapanyabo Omazi. If a family no on or blow disaster to them, they will no longer be able to cope. So kaka po Omazi kahana ne depend na all those ngongbo. But a time will come when the Omazi will by themselves take that ngongbo and throw it away because they will know that they don't need it anymore. Or work abulino. If Ezinwa Anaedo, I have to stop here. Chetana eshi bụ nkwa anyị na-eme nkwasaraka every nkwa maka ndị nwere mmasị iso. If you want to join us on nkwasaraka, you chat me on WhatsApp 08032477868. So ngewa bụ ya na-ajụ ma nkụzi ndị a na-enye osozikwa na ọdịnala omenala Igbo. Yes. Ife atọ ọnya wụ isi sekpọ ntị na ọdịnala omenala Igbo, nya wụ isi sekpọ ntị. Because you cannot be able to fix anything outside when you have not been able to fix the inward. Ezinwa Anaedo is directing you inward where the energy center lies. The escape route is through the mind, not through physicalities, not through ife a na-afụ anya. You got to go. Ife a na-afụ anya can perish. Ife a na-afụ anya nwere ike imebisie. Ife a na-afụ anya can deteriorate. Man, if from not within, you can't touch it. Amosu can attack ihe a na-afụ anya. I nwere ike hibe mmụọ kịta do chi gị n'okpe si dobi. Amosu can go to that artifact ide were chi gị, mess here up, occupy here, chụpụ mmụọ nọ there, occupy here the place. Oh, you have an idea. Lolo. Amosu can go to that okwu agwụ, chụpụ agwụ nọ there, chụpụ mmụọ na-eme ihe ọma nọ there, possess ya the altar. That is the danger of ife a na-afụ anya, physicality. Man, for that one within, they no fit. The Amosu no fit. The Akoweri no fit. The Oko, who want try him? The Ogwagwalagwa no fit. Amụọ m na-aghọta. Ọ bụrụ na awele iji aga n'iru dị n'ife a na-afụ anya, mebi ọgwụ agwara agwọ tinye n'ite nke ụnụ kpọrọ oke ite, dụ n'ife a na-afụ anya, mebi okwu mmụọ ehibere ehibe n'ọnya bụ awele gị, dụ n'ife a na-afụ anya, mebi n'ọwụ mmiri na-ehu ehu, n'ọwa ebe a ka awele ọ dị, ma ọ bụ na awele gị bụ na be dibịa ka ọ dị, ma ọ bụ na awele gị bụ na mmụọ nọ na be gị, otu isi wee akwa di ya ọ na-emere gị ife. Have you asked yourself, what if this physical something happened to it tomorrow? Does that mean that my awele will end? That flowing water where I claim that my awele is from, what if tomorrow this flowing river ata? Ịnụba na nwere mmiri tara ata, mmiri na-ehubunu mechaa da afụzi mmiri dị. Okay, ijubere onwe gị, what if okite anụnwa na-enye m awele nji aga n'iru eme ihe? What if this okite is no longer there? Have you ever asked yourself that thing? When everything in the physical disappear, what remains of you? Mgbe a ka eji ama ndị nwe egwu. It is those that embody everything within. That is when they will now be the only ones standing. Every others will fall. Agbarangodi onya. I go lie for you. Ezinwa Anaedo, awele madru ane aneta na ana afu anya. Na me tell you. Awele nji aga. Ibobo nji aga. Oki ibobo chim nyelom. Odru ane aneta na ana afu anya. It is not in anything physical. Ịchọkwa ịbịa na be Ezinwa Anaedo mebi ife niile o ji eme dibịa. Ma awele, you have still not touched it. Ịchọkwa abịa tomorrow kịta anụ a nara m ọfa nji eme dibịa buru etufuo, which I know you cannot do. Ma awele is still not tampered with. The only thing you can do that will terminate the awele is maybe. Maybe. My name is Ezinwa Anaedo. I come for the total restoration of Ọdịnanị and Omenani Igbo.